Hello, I'm Aifel of Lorlin, and we are gonna delve deeper into Maestro. So we are gonna talk about a couple of things in this video, and we are gonna start with the fact that you can start editing from a ABC song instead of a MIDI song. And you can also use karaoke MIDIs. So that is MIDIs that have lyrics embedded in them. Sometimes they are named instead of .mid, they end with .car, and Maestro will work fine with them also. So what I mean by this is ABC is that if I have made a song here, if I export it to ABC and I just call it R, then I can actually now I'll just to really demonstrate this. I will start Maestro from this ABC file. Oops, that was the wrong one. I was wondering. So, it's using basically the ABC file as a source, and I can really recommend not doing this a lot for several reasons. I'll get to that. But if you can, always try to use the MIDI as the source, and I'll give some arguments for that. But the alternative to doing this, let's say you make 2 years ago you made a song and you now want to maybe edit a little bit in it or add an instrument or something, and then you take your old ABC and you put it in as a source, and there's gonna be there's bound to it's likely that there will be some degradation of the song, and you will have less options for manipulating it. So you can find your original MIDI, of course, and start from scratch, or there's another option, you can save a project. So when you had made the song in the first place 2 years ago, for example, you could have saved the Maestro song as, and that's sort of a project you save. It's MSX files. So I just run to you, and then I can save this. Let's call this number 3. So, and if I close project and then I open this run to you free, then it starts again. Now we don't have a MIDI as a source, but if we had a MIDI as a source, it would retranslate the MIDI if you export it. And there is some reasons to use these project files instead of starting when you want to edit some old things you have done and going for the ABC as source. And that leads me to another feature, namely notes. Over here, it's just a little sidetrack. I'll get back to on track. But you can have notes in your project file. So you can write whatever you want here, and it will be saved in the project file. So you can write notes about why you make a particular song as you make it, or what's different from this song and similar songs you have maybe made, or different versions of the same song, and or you can put lyrics in or whatever. Notes to keep you on track on what you still want to do with the song, or what some issues the song has or something. And there's a little button here at the lower right corner that allows you to. Oh, this tooltip drives me nuts. That allows you to toggle if the notes should be seen or not. So if we load back the video project that we made the original ABC with, which is number 2 here. So I have written down some arguments, and I think you should take these serious. So the first is auto-transpose notes or original pitch will forever be lost. So that means that if you have, let's say we have a bassoon here on the melody, and we have done something like this. Okay, that's maybe extreme. Something like this when we made the song. So all the red notes here is gonna be transposed one octave up. And you maybe regret that you did that or want to do something else or something, and that's just too late. Now then those notes are gonna be higher. So when I lift it up from here, it's not gonna be here. It's gonna be one octave up here. And that's gonna be lost. Information like that is gonna be lost when you use the ABC as source instead of the MIDI, which is what projects do. They remember the MIDI that you opened it with, and then it opens the MIDI again and applies the the edits you did to the MIDI. And the song is not going to be one-to-one in all circumstances. For example, we talked about this, about 6 notes per instrument. So it's gonna remove some notes from instruments that has a lot of notes on them. Those notes that's gonna be removed, they're gonna be gone. And sometimes the notes it chooses to remove depends also on which instrument you have on it. So you switch instrument, and then it's all of a sudden some other notes that should have been removed. And that's just too bad, because those that are removed, they are just gone because they are not in the ABC file anymore. So they are in the MIDI, so use a project file, and having a project file also reminds you about the MIDI because you have these meta information up here. And so you can, if you have a MIDI file called something simple and not really descriptive of what's in it, and then you cannot remember what song it is or something, the project is going to help you remember. And the notes over here maybe. Another thing is there's something called delay in Maestro. Down here you have delay. I'm going to talk about that in another video. I just want to say that delay can be really messed up by doing this using ABC that has delay as source. Unused tracks will no longer be available. So for example, for this song we haven't used the bright acoustic piano, and that's not going to be written down into the ABC. So if I later use this ABC as a source, then that track is going to be gone, and you will never have the ability to use it. And volume velocities changes will become less dynamic. So what I mean by that is, for example, if you do like this, I want to really loud like this. Then you save it as an ABC, and when you when you use the ABC as source, you think, I maybe didn't want it so loud, and you do like this. See, now it looks, you can see the velocities of the notes from the MIDI. They are not the same, they are not even. But when you do this for an ABC as a source, they are even. Because they had all been maximized, so they're all going to be the same. And there's no longer that dynamic in the track anymore, and that information is just lost. And muted notes, that's something you can do in the section editor. There's some muting. We will get to that in another video. Or drum tones tracks will get lost. So with that, I mean, for example, if we have the fiddle here, I have chosen this sound here for this. The other notes here, they are just gonna be gone. The information about them is gonna be lost. And actually, if you had put a drum on it and exported it, and then you re-import it, then all this information is going to be gone. It's going to be gone what was acoustic bass, what was bass drum, what was acoustic snare, electric snare. All you're going to have is the Lotto instrument drum sounds that you put on it, and So there is again a loss of information. Fading that you do in the section editor cannot be undone. Same principle as losing the dynamics with the volumes. And combined tracks, yeah, well, they are combined and they cannot be split anymore. And if you are doing a song with more than 15 parts, it's even more stupid to use the ABC as source. For one, they cannot be edited because Maestro and ABC player will refuse to load it. And secondly, yeah, they simply cannot be previewed in ABC player. I forgot something about this. Sorry about that. There was something more about this. Okay, there was one thing more. Doesn't matter. Maybe I'll get back to it in another video. Okay, so there's a lot of reasons and arguments for using project files. This save Maestro song or save Maestro song as. And if you look up here at the top, there's a little star up here by the name. It means that the song is edited and is not saved. So you can save the Maestro song as something, and then you see it gets removed. There's a little note here in the notes. That is, when you edit the notes, it's not gonna put the little star on here, but it is gonna remind you when you want to close the project that actually there's a reason to save it. So if this dialog comes up, it's probably without there being a star up here, it's probably because you have done something to the notes. Another thing is when you open a project which has a note in it, the note panel will automatically open and show you the notes. And you can write really long notes if you want to. So, I think that is it for this video. Use projects, that's all I can say. It's a really good idea. It's really smart. Oh, yo, there's one thing more. If you have the MIDI file in the project that the project uses, it writes down the absolute path to it on your system. So if you move the MIDI file to another hard disk or another folder, then the project won't be able to open it, and then it's gonna ask you, do you want to look for this MIDI file? It still remembers the MIDI file's name, so you get an option and dialog to find where you have located it, and when you have located it, it will work as before, hopefully. So that's it for this video. See you in the next video.